So let Mr. Gurucharan Das start.
Okay. I think for Arif Muhammad Khan and for myself, the podium should have been in the middle. Because, frankly, both coalitions and strong single-party governments can fail. And the question is the political culture of the country and the needs of the country which can decide this. Now, there are many things that damages that coalitions have done. Let me first say that in March 2012, Mamata Banerjee killed one of the best railway budgets presented in our country by Dinesh Trivedi of TMC and wanted him sacked. And she got him sacked just because Dinesh Trivedi raised the passenger rates to a very small extent in order to pay for the safety budget of the railways. Second example of a bad things that coalitions can do is when Suresh Prabhu was one of our best power ministers who produced the Dream Reformist Electricity Act. He was similarly sacked because the Supremo of the Shiv Sena felt threatened by a man who was getting too popular. Another example, in the UPA 2, Manmohan Singh blamed coalition Dharma for not moving against D. Raja. It's been mentioned about his entry, but when we knew that what Raja had done, he says, I was helpless. And of course, Italy is the perfect example of what is wrong with the coalition government, because their average life of an Italian government is 1 year over the last 70 years. And it's always a coalition government that brings it down. Now let me turn the other way. What the damage that single-party governments have done in our country. I've already sort of preempted myself, but number one, the emergency was one of the lowest point in our history. Second, demonetization. I happen to agree with those people who think that demonetization was a disaster. It will have some good consequences, but not only did it do economic harm, not only am I judging it as an economist, but it was a dharmic. The Raj Dharma says, Vidur says this, the Raj Dharma says that the only imperative for a ruler is to help the people. And the kind of pain that this brought to our country, despite all the benefits it will bring, I think was wrong. So that was a mistake. Now take the popular government of Jawaharlal Nehru, perhaps the whole of 50s. The license permit inspector Raj that was created by the strong single-party government, and which Rajaji, the words were coined by Rajaji, what happened at that time. So I think the point here is that neither coalition governments nor single-party governments can ensure you the delivery of results. Both can make mistakes. And certainly, I think that that's why I'm not giving you examples from both Congress mistakes and BJP mistakes. And of course, the biggest mistake in this last 5 years is that the government has not fulfilled its promise on jobs. But that's for another show. Let me just say now where I stand, because frankly, the political culture, the political problem of India is really not accountability. When you have an election happening every month practically, you have plenty of accountability. The issue is of a state that can be act effectively. So I've got 1 minute left. Good. Now, a liberal democratic state has 3 pillars. It should have an effective executive that can act quickly and get things done. 2, that action should be under the rule of law, and that action should be accountable to the people. What we lack today is state capacity, the ability to take that thing. And that's why the biggest problem of this country is not really economic reform. It is governance reform. Why should it? And therefore, this is what I had expected, and I would expect from the next government and from every government. 1, why should it take 15 years to get justice in the courts? Why should a bureaucrat who works 1 hour a day and passes time be rewarded with the same day he's promoted as a bureaucrat who works for 12 hours a day and is hugely effective? Why should the ordinary citizen be afraid of going to a police station? And why should the police be a handmaiden of the chief minister? Why should we have elections every month? So these are the governance issues of the country, and I'm afraid none, neither single party government or coalitions have delivered it.
Thank you, Mr. Das. Key questions raised there. Any questions from this side?
So I've stunned them into silence.
Yes. Well,
I'm sorry, this is not a debate.
So
One second. No, I'm asking this question. Yeah. I'm asking because right now, even I'll take both sides. The question that I've been in Telegraph and everywhere else in Calcutta and in colleges, a debate means you take a stand. And then it becomes interesting for everybody to listen. 1 second. So this is, I'll also get on to both sides. I'll present also, don't worry, this side and that.
You haven't asked one question.
Look, hey, hold on. Before you go on your high horse. When I was invited to this debate, I told Deepak clearly that I am in the middle. There should be a podium in the middle, and that is the honest position. Frankly, I'm not interested in defending either one or the other, but frankly, the question is who will perform and who will do the reforms actually. Let's keep quiet for a second.
Let him finish what he's saying.
Can I finish? Look, I'm not going to interrupt you.
He does have a minute to answer.
So I'm just saying that Margaret Thatcher gave some very good advice. She said that she only did she's known as a person was an economic reformer, but actually what she did do was governance reform. She changed the government of Britain forever, but she did it in her second term. So I actually asked Mr. Modi specifically this question, and I said this specifically, when will you do the governance reforms? And he's the one who reminded me that he will do it in his next term, because he said that is when you really have the confidence.
Right.
Now, I didn't buy that answer, but nevertheless, let's hope, in case he comes in, that he will do these reforms.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Das. Sunil.